Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste and good morning, everybody. Namaste.
Morning, Swamiji.
Every time I hear this refrain, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, I cannot help but be moved. This is from the Upanishads, from the Taittiriya Upanishad, second chapter, which is called Brahmananda Valli, the chapter on the bliss of Brahman, or Brahman as bliss, where the nature of ultimate reality, Brahman, is said to be Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahman is limitless, infinite existence awareness, limitless existence consciousness. If we sit silently and turn inwards, go deep within ourselves, turn inwards, just quiet, then we will see the irreducible minimum, that which cannot be dismissed, that which cannot be wished away, reasoned away, ignored, is that we exist. I am. This I am is Satyam, existence, reality. And this I am is not a dull, dark I am, but it is shining, it is aware. So this awareness, consciousness, is Jnanam. And this existence awareness is our core nature. Think about it. All that we experience in life, throughout our lives, is an overlay, like a layer on this existence awareness. This existence awareness is like the screen on which the movie of our lives plays out. All our bodies, the people we see outside, all our activities, our memories, our likes and dislikes, our great projects in life, our struggles, eventually the death, all of these things play out on this isness awareness. And then further, this isness awareness is not limited to you. As we look out into this world, we see this world is nothing more than a play of names, forms, activities. The reality belongs to this isness awareness. This is a very profound secret. That the very felt reality of this world feels real. People feel real. Our own bodies, our experiences feel real. And the Upanishad tells us this reality is actually you. It's not there. It's not out there. You are the reality of this experienced life, this experienced universe. The locus of reality is you. The locus of awareness is you. And this entire extended universe in front of us is shining in this awareness. It seems counterintuitive because we feel very localized in our bodies. But think about it, when you dismiss the world, dismiss the body, the mind, dismiss means turn your attention away from it. The one thing you cannot dismiss is the existence awareness. And then when you look back out, the thoughts in the mind, the emotions, sensory activities, body and the world, they all appear. Space and time is spread out in that existence only. The underlying reality is you, the existence. This pure being, pure awareness. Pure means unmixed. Pure not in the sense of good or nice, unmixed. It's not mixed with anything else. So this is a limitless existence awareness. Satyam Jnanam. This is Anantam. Anantam means limitless. Limitless means the other person is not a limit to you. It's not like I am here and that is something other than me. That is somebody other than me. No. This existence awareness itself appears as this person and that person and that person and all living beings and all non-living beings. Entirety of whatever is experienced is experienced. It's like a logical truism. It's experienced because of awareness, because of you, the awareness. This existence awareness is unlimited. This unlimited existence awareness is called Brahman in Vedanta. If you know this and live from this center, that is the message of Vedanta, that is the solution of our life's problems. at its deepest level. Anyway, profound stuff. But we'll hear more of that, I'm sure. Diane has got questions from our internet audience, and as usual in these sessions, we'll take up one question from the internet audience and then questions from the live audience here in person. I'll ask you to raise your hands, and then ask you to come up in front and tell us your name and ask the question. Make it short and pointed, and then we'll go back to the internet audience and go back and forth like that. Yes.
Mind them about the online link.
Oh, yes. So now our intrepid IT team has put together many sessions of these Ask Swami questions and answers. So it's a wonderful online resource. It's available for free for everybody in our website, which is vedantany.org. If you go to the lectures tab and look inside that, you will find the Ask Swami questions and answers. So they are all the past questions. They're nicely categorized. You can see subjects which interest you and see the discussion which ensued. So that's in the website, vedantany.org, under the lectures tab. Yes.
Good morning, Swamiji. We have a question from Graham Watson from Ontario, Canada. I deeply appreciate your online talks, but I have a strong reaction to the idea of seeing the world as an appearance. I believe it is important to take this world seriously, both the positive and negative aspects. I don't want my love for my children, the beauty of art, or the joy of friendship to be false, in quotes. I also feel a moral unease with overcoming my anger and sadness about the suffering and injustice in the world. How do I see myself as Brahman, but not fail to act ethically and lovingly on an immanent level?
Yes, it's a good question. So the question is about the falsity of the world. If I regard the world as false, then what happens to my, as he said, love for my children, for appreciation of art and beauty? What about the moral problems of our times, and how do I engage with them? If I dismiss everything as false, as an appearance, as a dream, as an illusion. So this problem comes up. Many people are fascinated by non-dual philosophy of Advaita Vedanta. When we hear Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, Jiva Brahmaiva Napara, Brahman alone is real. This limitless existence, consciousness alone is real. The world, what about the world? It's an appearance, like a dream, like an illusion, like a snake seen in a rope. And what about me? Am I an appearance or reality? Well, don't worry, you are real, you are Brahman. And this is fascinating. Many people, they're attracted by this teaching. However, as you dive deep into this, you will inevitably, any serious seeker will run up against these questions. So if this world is actually false, when I get down to it, then in my life, many things seem impossible or valueless or meaningless then. What about my job? What about my career? What about my family? What about the beauties in this world, the art and literature? All of this is just meaning. What about science? Is it all magic show? Is it just an illusion? And am I the only reality? So, here is the thing one must keep in mind. The teaching about the falsity of the world is a part of the teaching. It's not the ultimate statement of truth. The ultimate statement of truth is non-dual Brahman. Infinite existence consciousness is the reality. In order to point this out, the apparent distinctions are dismissed as false. In order to point out the gold, the names and forms of the ornaments are dismissed as false, so that your attention goes not to the necklace form and the bracelet form and the ring form and the names, necklace, bracelet, ring. What do those names suggest to us? That they are different. After all, a necklace is not a ring is not a bracelet. They don't look alike. The names are different and their uses are different. The necklace you put on your neck, the bracelet on your wrist and the ring on your finger. So the names, forms, uses are all different. They are all different entities, but they are not. And we miss the fact that it was the same lump of gold which was made into a necklace and maybe melted and then made into a bracelet, and melted and made into a ring. In fact, when I saw the necklace, and later when I see the bracelet, we are seeing exactly the same thing, literally the same thing. The form has changed. The name has changed. It is the same. Not only is it gold, it's the same gold, which has been made into a new ornament. Now, in order to draw our attention to that it is said, gold is real and the ornaments are false or an appearance. So, the teaching about the falsity of the world is to draw our attention to what is real. To what is real. Now, once you realize what is real, after that, you understand, okay, so it is gold. Gold is the reality of which ornament, these are products, these are names and forms. The inner reality, the substance of it all is gold. The substance, the reality of this universe is Brahman or Atman, our own reality. But now, does it mean that you're going to melt down all the beautiful ornaments into a featureless lump of gold? Because it's gold anyway. Why keep ornaments? No. You will still have the ornaments. We all know, those who have golden ornaments, you all know it's gold. That doesn't prevent you from recognizing a necklace or a bracelet or a ring. That doesn't prevent you from calling them by their proper names. That doesn't prevent you from using them the way they are supposed to be used. So none of the vyavahar or the transactions of the world are disturbed by knowing that underlying all of this is one reality. Oneness is the teaching of Vedanta, not falsity. Falsity is a way of accomplishing that oneness. Why the teaching of falsity is necessary? Otherwise, our attention is all on the external details, not on the underlying reality. Our attention is on the names and forms, not on Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, limitless existence consciousness. Once all the waves are discovered to be water, you see all the waves in the ocean and the foam and the surf and the bubbles, they're all discovered to be one water. Still the ocean can go on in all its glory. Similarly, in this world, once you discover, once a clarity dawns that I am this one limitless existence consciousness bliss, so is everybody else. And in this way we are all one reality. This oneness is the thing to be grasped. The way to misunderstand this is, if you stop halfway, the world is false. Okay, I am Brahman, and what are you all? You are all false. I am real. Here, this is real. This, even the body. Yeah, I am real. Of course, I won't say that, but I'll say I am Brahman, I am real, and everybody else is false, or everybody else is a dream. I take my own dream paradigm to be like, as if this is the dream. No. It's not that I as this guy, I am real and you're all in my dream. It's like something like a Matrix movie or something. No. Rather, you are the reality. And they are all one with you. If I am real and the whole world is an appearance, then equally you are real and we are all an appearance to you. But underlying it all is one existence consciousness bliss, which you are, which everybody else is. So, the takeaway from this is, how do I relate to the world as a non-dualist? As oneness. It's a huge paradigm shift, but it will not take away your love for your children, your interest in your career in science. It will not take away from your interest in beauty of art and music and or engagement with the causes of the day, with the great issues of the day. It will not take it away. It will give you a deeper clarity. You will act from oneness. It will give you great calmness also. Notice, you should love for my children. Notice my children. Why that my? Because I love them because they are related to this. Now, as long as this is one body mind, then my love is necessarily limited to those who are related to this body mind. But if this means one existence consciousness bliss, then who is part of it, or who is related, or who is this same existence consciousness bliss? Everybody, without limit. Anything that exists is one with me, because existence. Anything that appears in consciousness is one with me. So from this oneness, then I will act, from this inner oneness. All ethics is based on this sense of oneness. Swami Vivekananda said, ethics, being good to others. Why? Why should I be good to anybody else? Vivekananda puts it very bluntly. He said, why should I not cut my neighbor's throat if it is of advantage to me? Why not? This is bad. But why is it bad? It's bad because of oneness. When I hurt another person, I'm hurting myself in that extended sense of this one existence consciousness bliss. They're literally me. As I would not harm myself, I would not harm the other. The golden rule of ethics, which is common to all religions of the world, the golden rule is this: to treat others as you would have them treat you. You find it in every religion. In the Bhagavad Gita, for example, Krishna says that yogi is the supreme, who sees the suffering, joy and suffering of others as one's own joy or suffering. Atma upamyena sarvatra, seeing everybody as his own self. Because, now, Vivekananda asks, but why should I treat everybody else as myself? Why? Myself, I treat myself well because I feel my own pain and pleasure. I don't feel your pain and pleasure directly. So why should I treat you as myself? It's because that underlying oneness, this golden rule of ethics in all religions, you can still ask a question, why should it be so? And the answer is found in this Advaita, the oneness, the underlying oneness of existence, consciousness, bliss, that we are all this one reality. That's why. It gives you the rationale for ethics. It does not take away ethics. So, what is love basically? Metaphysically speaking, it is oneness. You feel one with some people, and that's why this is expressed as love. Now imagine feeling one with the entire universe. Vivekananda had this meeting with the great atheist here, Ingersoll, who was a well-known atheist, and he was a well-known public speaker in the United States in late 19th century. And Vivekananda met him. He said to Vivekananda, I don't believe in all this spiritual teaching. I believe in this life only, and squeezing the orange of this life to get every drop from it. Just whatever we see and experience. Vivekananda says, I believe in very much the same thing. And then he joked that perhaps in my choice of fruit, I prefer a mango, not an orange. But he says, I believe in the same thing. But remember, but I can show you a better way of squeezing this and getting everything out of it. I know that I cannot die, therefore I am not in a hurry. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma. I'm not in a hurry. I imagine the joy of experiencing the world as one with yourself. I'm paraphrasing Vivekananda. The great joy of knowing they are all one with you. Imagine living life in this way. And then he says, live life in this way, you will get, squeeze every last drop, get 10,000-fold more. So this is what the teaching of Advaita enables you to do. Certainly you can love. Certainly you will be ethical. The ground of ethics is Advaita itself. It's not neutral to ethics. Somebody said to me many years ago, I don't like this Advaita teaching because it makes good and evil equal. No, it does not. The reality is being, existence. Sat. Sat means existence or truth. And therefore truth is closer to our day-to-day truth. The truth which we experience in this world is closer to reality than falsehood. Oneness is closer to reality than difference. Therefore, love is closer to reality than hatred and violence. An ethical life is closer to reality, to the non-dual reality, than an unethical life. So, in fact, instead of being value neutral, values, it gives a foundation to values. And this goes very deep. Those who have studied philosophy, they know one long-standing issue in the philosophy of ethics is foundation. Why should one be ethical? Your culture tells you to be good, but in reality, what is the ground of this reality, of this world, from which ethics flows? And it's a huge debate, even now. I've attended philosophy class, entire course on ethics at Harvard University, taught by a Nobel laureate, whose whole issue was this: why should we be good? Speaking of Amartya Sen at Harvard. So a seminar on ethics, on the ground of ethics, on the foundations of ethics. So the answer from Vedanta is this Brahman, this existence consciousness bliss. And just as an aside, Ananda, bliss, the ultimate nature of reality, Brahman, as I said, is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, infinite being and existence, infinite existence and awareness is Brahman. This is also, Upanishad speaks of it as bliss. So the ground of all aesthetics, of all joy. Certainly you can appreciate all kinds of art and literature, whatever your predilection is, you can appreciate it, you can enjoy it. They are all grounded in reality. Again, look at the lives of the enlightened ones. Look at how full of joy they were, how full of love they were. And their love was an unconditional love. It was not limited to specific people or specific places. It was for everybody, regardless. Why was it for everybody? Because they saw the same reality everywhere. We don't. We see persons. As long as I see myself as a person, as long as I see myself as a body, you're a body to me. As long as I see myself as a person, you're a person to me. When I see myself as spirit, as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, you are also Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. It's one limitless ocean of existence awareness. So, the enlightened one, look at the life of Vivekananda. Look at the life of Adi Shankaracharya. So much joy, so much activity. They led short lives. Shankaracharya lived for 32 years. Vivekananda lived for 39 years. Lives of intense activity, of intense engagement with the world. And they left an enormous impact of the world, which Shankaracharya's case comes down 13 or 1400 years from that time. Vivekananda's more than 100 years ago. That's why we are sitting here today. How much engagement with the world? They didn't dismiss it as a ghost, as a fiction, as an illusion. But how is it non-dual in that case? They recognize the non-dual reality underlying these differences. Yes. One more question we can take.
This question is from Ganananda Rao Tamanini. The first step in understanding one's true nature is neti, not this, not this. The second step is realizing that you are consciousness/reality. I can grasp these steps, but the third step, I am everything, as explained in Aparuksha Anubhuti, is difficult for me to understand. Swamiji, could you explain this third step in detail? How can one bring this third state into daily life and experience it as reality?
We are not getting away from Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. The questions are bringing us there, back there again and again. Yes. So, what he has said about the first two steps, he calls them two steps, I generally call them one step, is Vedanta starts by investigating ourselves. Who are we, who am I, or what am I exactly? And when we are shown how I am not the body, our instinctive reaction is to say, I am this guy, this fellow. And then we are shown by argument and experience, by analysis, how I am not the body, how I am not the mind, how I am not, the body is there, the mind is there, but I am not literally this body, this flesh and blood and cells and organs and all. How am I not this complex of thoughts and emotions? They are all there, but I am aware of these. So I am the awareness to which these are appearing. I am not literally bones and flesh and blood. I am not literally fleeting thoughts and emotions and ideas. I am the awareness. So this is the process of neti, not this, not this. And in every process in Vedanta, whichever path, whichever track we take, the way of seeing and the seen, drigdrishya viveka, the way of the 5 layers of the human personality, pancha kosha viveka, the way of the analysis of the three states of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, all of them will lead you to this conclusion: I am awareness. I am existence. I am existence awareness. Various names are used. Atma, the self. Chaitanya, Chit. Witness consciousness, Sakshi. The fourth, Turiya. All of them mean the same thing. I am awareness. I am existence awareness. But now, an intuition is left in our mind that, yes, I am awareness. All right. That's not so difficult to understand. But what about this world out there? There is this body I have. What is this? What's this in relation to me, the awareness? What about the world? There are other persons like me. Are there other awarenesses like me? In all of these beings, are there different awarenesses? And there are living and non-living things in this world. What is my relation to all of that? And Vedanta goes on to say, this awareness which you have discovered, yes, this awareness, I am this awareness is indeed appearing as the entire objective universe. Your own mind, your own body, the entire thing which you see and hear and smell and taste and touch, whatever is beyond the range of our senses, this entire material universe is nothing other than you, that awareness. You are all of it. Atman is Brahman. So this is the teaching. This is the final stage of the teaching. Now, what, as he's saying there, is this third part, or according to his classification, step one is not this, I'm not the body, not the mind, and so on. And then step two is I'm awareness. So combine them together, you get one step. That is, you come at the conclusion that I am awareness. And then this awareness indeed is appearing as everything. This second part, he says, it's not very clear to me. Could you explain this? How is awareness everything? How is everything nothing other than awareness? So this is actually the teaching of Advaita Vedanta, the separation of you into awareness and everything else into an object. I am awareness and everything else, my own thoughts, this body, great part of it, notice, a great part of this body is actually unknown to me. Even to me, the awareness. Lots of what's going on, a doctor might investigate and find out stuff about this body, which I don't know. So known and unknown, whatever is known here, I'm aware of it. Whatever I'm not aware of it, both are existing in me, or they're appearing to me, the awareness, as the known, and the rest of it as the unknown. But what about all this other, the rest? Vedanta says all of that also is nothing other than you, the awareness. How so? It doesn't compute, they'll say. Just to separate you between awareness and object. I am awareness and everything else is separate from me. You don't need Advaita for that. And Sankhya does it. The Sankhya philosophy, it makes you the witness consciousness of the entire material universe. I am awareness. I am the witness of this entire material universe. That's it. It stops there. But that's a duality. That's not non-duality. Earlier we stopped at the skin. What am I? I'm up to this. This much I am. The rest is not me. It's you, it's this, that, and you. All of it is separate from me. What this Sankhyan analysis does is, even this body goes into the category of that, or this, not me. Even this prana, breath, goes into the category of this, not me. Even these thoughts, these ideas, feelings, emotions, this entire personality goes into the category of this, not me. So the boundary which separates I, the consciousness, from everything else, it is pushed further back to consciousness, and everything else is pushed into the realm of this object. Are you with me? Mm-hmm. Yep. Sometimes it's good to check. I'm going ahead full steam and I enjoy all this. But so now you don't need Advaita for this. You don't need non-duality for this. This is Sankhya. But this is the first step. Or in his counting, it's the first and second steps. But now, third, he says, can you tell me how do I know I am all of it? Some of you are feeling very warm. You can switch on that fan right behind you. Yes. How do I know this awareness, I'm all of this? Notice one thing. As this body, as this person, I can't say I am all of it. Obviously I am not. Here is one body, and there are 100 other bodies here. There are billions of other bodies, and there are many non-living entities. The body is not everything. Body is clearly this much only. Even this mind is not everything. This mind is different from that mind. You know stuff, you feel stuff, you understand things, you have a perspective very different from this mind. Each mind has different knowledge, different feelings, different personality. So minds are different. As bodies we cannot be one. As minds we cannot be one. As persons we are many. Bodies are many, minds are many, persons are many. But oneness, where is it established? How is it possible? Vedanta says that consciousness, that being, existence which you are pointed out by this process of neti neti, that is the basis of oneness of the entire universe. The whole universe is nothing but that being awareness. How so? There's no time to explain the whole thing. It's a very deep process, but I have mentioned it many times. Let me just indicate. Let me give you two processes. Remember where we are beginning. We are beginning at a very advanced stage. I am beginning at I am the witness consciousness. I am existence awareness. Now, the question we will consider, what's all this? I am existence awareness. Very good. But many things are appearing to me. My own thoughts are appearing to me. My sensory perceptions are appearing to me. And through my sensory perceptions, I am aware of a body and I am aware of all of you. So what's all this? What's the relation of the object to the subject? What's the relation of matter to consciousness? Matter, energy, time, space, what is its relation to consciousness? What is the relation of the appearance to the witness of the appearance? What's the relation? Vedanta wants to say, this entire appearance is nothing but you, the witness consciousness. The entire objective universe is nothing but the pure subject. The entire range of matter, energy, time, space is nothing but consciousness. I'm using the words very carefully, nothing but. One philosophy said there's a lot of nothing buttery going on. So, two processes let me mention here. One, the 7-step reduction was indicated by Swami Sarvapriyananda Puriji, who is the Shankaracharya of Puri, Govardhan Martin Puri. In one of his talks, casually he said this, just in one sentence, so that I'll have to explain a little bit. 7-step reduction of this experienced universe, of this universe into consciousness. 7-step reduction. To show what? Answer the question. What is the relationship of this entire universe to me, the witness consciousness? Vedanta's answer is, you're one. That whole thing is nothing but you. It is you actually, appearing as this entire thing. How do you do that? In 7 steps. That's one approach I will quickly delineate. The second approach I will delineate is much shorter approach, much more direct, but much more subtle and powerful, from another great non-dualist in the 1950s or so, Swami Atmananda, Krishna Menon, Atmananda. He's a little known non-dualist. People have forgotten mostly nowadays, but he was a brilliant teacher, very profound teacher of Advaita Vedanta. So two methods, or two procedures for reducing the universe to you the consciousness. 7-step procedure. Let me run through the English terms with the corresponding, the Sanskrit terms with the corresponding English. He just said it in Sanskrit, so I'm just translating into English. Start with what? World. End with what? You, the consciousness. In 7 steps. So he said, start with this. Jagat. English, world. Step 2. Panchabhuta Vilasa. In English, the play of 5 elements. This world is what is it? It's matter. See, all of this is matter. It's all molecules and atoms. It's all elements. It's all space and fire and air and water and earth. Whatever your cosmology is. It's matter and energy. This entire universe. All of it. So all distinction reduced to matter. Step 2. Step 3. Maya Vilasa. All of matter emerges from Maya. It's all Maya. I'm not going into how do I explain this to modern people. How is the material universe Maya? But it can be done. I've mentioned it on other occasions. So Maya Vilasa, step 3. It is the play of Maya. But Maya is nothing other than which is the power of Brahman, it's the power of consciousness. So the play of Maya is the play of consciousness. Step 4, Chid Vilasa, the play of consciousness. This whole universe, this universe right here, is the play of consciousness. Step 5, consciousness doesn't play. Play is a sort of poetic way of putting it. Play means change, activity. When you are playing something, or you are moving around, you are throwing a ball or something like that. So consciousness doesn't do that. What happens in consciousness? Awareness. You are aware of things. So, step 5, Chid Vivarta, the appearance in consciousness. The universe is an appearance in consciousness. Step 6, whatever appears in another is pervaded by the other. What I mean by that is, if a reflection appears in a mirror, the whole reflection is pervaded by the mirror. There's nothing other in the reflection than the mirror. If a movie appears on a screen, the whole movie is pervaded by the screen. But what do I mean by pervaded? If you go and touch a person in the movie, a car in the movie, a place in the movie, you're touching the screen basically all the time. Yeah. So, step 6, Chinmaya, pervaded by consciousness. But pervaded in what sense? Does consciousness pervade something like you light incense here and the fragrance will pervade the hall? So there is a hall and there is incense and it pervades the hall. Is consciousness like that? That there is a universe and somehow consciousness spreads out into the universe? Now, is it like that? Or is it like wood? Here is the altar, it's made of wood. Here is the table, it's made of wood. The altar and the table, they are pervaded by wood. All it means is they are nothing but wood. Wood with a particular name and form and activity is called an altar. Wood with a particular name and form and activity is called a table. But it's wood through and through. So the 7th step is, pervaded means it is consciousness through and through. Chin matra, consciousness only. 7 steps. Start with this world. You're right here. You're not gone anywhere else. You've transformed this world into consciousness. Think about the 7 steps. It's like a lightning tour of Indian philosophy. So many schools have arisen and disappeared in this. Those who have studied Indian philosophy will know how quickly schools are appearing and disappearing in these 7 steps. And he did it in 1 sentence. I did it in maybe 2 paragraphs. But if you want to explain it in detail, argue it out, it's a whole semester's course or maybe a graduate program in Indian philosophy. What are the 7 steps? World, Jagat. Step 2, Panchabhuta Vilasa, the play of 5 elements, space, air, fire, water, earth. Step 3, Maya Vilasa, the play of Maya. Step 4, Chid Vilasa, the play of consciousness, because Maya is a power of consciousness of Brahman. Step 5, Chid Vivatta, the appearance in consciousness, not play of consciousness. The universe is an appearance in consciousness. Step 6, Chinmaya, but the appearance is pervaded by consciousness. Step 7, not pervaded and pervader relationship. It is consciousness only. Chinmatra. Step 7, Chinmatra. This is answering that question. How do I know I am everything? Well, first of all, you said the first steps is clear. Neti, neti, and I am consciousness only. Next, you consider, what is this universe appearing to me, the consciousness? The answer to that in 7 steps is, it is consciousness only, you only. What is this universe? It's you only. So we have answered your question, how do I know I am all of this? Yes, I am all of this in these 7 steps. Make it simpler. Instead of taking the scenic tour through Indian philosophy, 5,000 years of Indian philosophy, at least I covered 3,000 years, let's say. Make it simpler. All right, we'll take the track shown by Atmananda Krishna Menon. Consider what appears to consciousness. Suppose this table is appearing to consciousness. What does it mean? I, the conscious being, am aware of this table. Now I am asking the question, what is this table in relation to me, the consciousness? Is it separate? Is it outside? Is it inside consciousness? Is it appearing in consciousness? Is it nothing other than consciousness? What is this table? So he says, step 1, table. Step 2, what is more right to say, that it is a table or it is a table which I am seeing? It's a table which I am seeing, right? This table which I am seeing is this table there outside the seeing or is it in the seeing? What I mean by that peculiar question is, do I have any experience of the table? It was outside seeing, now I have brought it into seeing. No. Whenever I see the table, it's a table in my experience only. The table is only part of seeing. Seeing the table which is seen is a part of that seeing. This is a subtle point, but it's worth dwelling upon. Everything that we sense is a part of that sensing experience. This table is a part of the seeing. If I touch it, well, it's part of the touching also. If I hear it, it's part of the hearing. Did this sound exist outside, then I heard it? Did it exist by itself and then I heard it? No. This sound arose in my hearing only. You might say, something is there outside and then only you are hearing it and see. That's a different question of materialism and idealism. But what I'm saying, so that's why this method is simple, direct, but it's very subtle, very powerful. You have to be very attentive to what's going on. Very precise. This table, right now, this table, doesn't matter what's outside or not. This table which you are experiencing, isn't it only a part of your experience of your seeing? Yes. Every bit of this table is part of that experience of seeing. And seeing is an appearance in consciousness. That part should be clear. Therefore, seeing is consciousness only. All right. What happened here? This table which you are experiencing, which you are seeing, is nothing other than seeing. In seeing, only seeing is there. And seeing is an appearance in consciousness. What appears in consciousness is only consciousness. Though it seems to be different, though it seems to be a separate table which I am aware of, in consciousness, so basically what he is saying is, in this material world, everything is material. But notice, you never come across the material world by itself. You are always the subject to whom the material world appears. In you, the subject, nothing can be experienced without chitta vritti, without mentation, without activity of the mind. Therefore, whatever is experienced is nothing but activity of the mind. If something is in your mind, it is mind only. Table has not gone into your mind. In your mind, it's a thought about a table. And the mind is just an appearance in consciousness. Whatever is in consciousness is consciousness only. So if a table is appearing in consciousness, it's consciousness only. 3 steps. Table, seeing, consciousness. What is the table? It's a table. Step 1. What is the table? It's seeing. What is seeing? It is consciousness. Done. You, the consciousness, are the entire universe of experience. Sounds weird, I know, but it's actually very elegant and very powerful. All right. Done. Somebody from the audience, would you like to come? Yeah. In that microphone.
Sit
there.
here.
Yeah, sit here and ask the question. Tell us your name and ask the question.
My name is Nandini.
Yes.
And the question I have actually builds off of what you have just said about the table and our conscious experience of that table being what we perceive as the material world. I think the question I have is about the Ishtadevta. We all have our Ishtadevta. We all identify with our Ishtadeva. But the names of our Ishtadeva, the forms of our Ishtadeva, all of these are part of this world, what we made. We made the forms, we made the names.
Yes.
Can you explain the Ishtadevtas to me in terms of the consciousness? Because in that case, if we made the Ishtadevtas in the sense of we gave the names, we gave the forms, we gave the form or the teachings of the Ishtadeva, Devta, how is that associated to the consciousness?
All right. Um, what lies at the heart of this question is, so is God made up? Is it cultural, to put it more politely? Yeah. And the answer is, straight answer, no. No. Just as this table, it is an appearance in consciousness. But will you say, we have made it up? We have given it a name and form. Can you do it differently? You can't do it differently. It's given to you. The way it is, the table is a table. You can't do anything about it. Eyes have revealed it as a table. You can't see it as a flower. A flower is a flower. A table is a table. You are not making it up in the sense you're making up, say, a conception in your mind, an imagination, a story in your mind. Not in that sense. This is presented to your senses and you must know it as it is presented. And yet it is an appearance in consciousness. Just because it is unalterable, you can't make it up and keep on changing it as you wish. It's not at the level of imagination. It's a level of sensory fact. You can't keep on changing it as you wish. And yet it is in consciousness. This is what Vedanta wants to say. Now, straight answer to your question, how real is God? How real is the Ishtadevata? Though the names and forms seem to be very cultural. What I mean by cultural is, we are taught as Hindus God is Krishna or Rama or Ramakrishna. Christians are taught God appears as the son of God is Christ. The Muslims are taught that God is as a formless divine personality, and they call it Allah and many other names. 99 names of Allah are there. The Jews call it Jehovah. They are not supposed to call it anything, but Jehovah. So, isn't it all cultural? Isn't it all made up? No. How real is it? It is as real as this world. How real is God? As real as this world. And let us be honest, we consider this world to be very real indeed. To that extent, as real as you consider your own body to be. We normally don't say, I made up my own body, it's a fictional thing. No, it seems very real to me. If the body seems real to me, to that extent, God is real. It's a very carefully considered statement. But just as the body is an appearance in you, the consciousness, in that sense also God is an appearance in you, the consciousness. Consciousness is the inner reality of all these appearances. The inner reality is what's called Atma, the very self of this. The very self of this world is consciousness. The very self of this body-mind appearance is consciousness, is Atman. And so too with God. It is one reality, one Brahman, one existence, consciousness, bliss, which appears as three things. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Sentient beings like us, the world which we inhabit, and the God of this world. They are all equally real. And footnote, with fine print, and equally unreal. The reality being Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss. Who are you? You are that reality. If you can honestly say, I have made up this world, I have made up this body, I have made up this personality, and then you can say, I made up God also. But we can't honestly say that. We make a big distinction between our imagination and what we consider as sensory perception. This is perceived, real for me. And if I mentally imagine this table, so I think, yeah, that's made up. This is real. Where is God? Is it like this or like this? It's like this. In Sanskrit, in Vedanta, there are these words, Vyavaharika and Pratibhasika. Transactional reality, appearance level reality. What is appearance level reality? Imagination, dreams, the snake scene in the rope. These are all appearance level reality and illusory. Dreams, stories, fiction, movies. What is transactional reality? This world which we are inhabiting. This one. What Vedanta wants to say is that there is a deeper level of reality. And the deeper level of reality is Brahman. Instead of saying false and real, Vivekananda said, why not say lower truth to higher truth? So say that this world is true, it's real, but there is a higher truth, which is Brahman. So that avoids the use of the term false, appearance, dream-like, which creates, it's like a stumbling block for many people. So let this be the lower truth. But God here, this lower truth has a way of trapping us in this world. And that higher truth, Brahman, can be grasped in this world through our God language, our God forms and names and all of that. It's a portal to that higher truth. Pure consciousness itself can never be objectified. I am the witness of everything. But try to know it. Try to know yourself as you truly are. It's some kind of thought will come up, some kind of conception will come up. And if we dismiss every conception, a blankness will come up. You will never be able to objectify the pure subject. Consciousness can never be an object to itself. And yet it can be. How is it an object to itself? Oh, in this beautiful technology which we call, spiritual technology which we call God and Ishta Devata. Imposing a set of, yes, culturally influenced names and forms which enable us to grasp the ungraspable for the purpose of spiritual realization, for the purpose of spirituality. So, yes, Ishta Devata is not made up in that sense.
It's real. It's the form of consciousness. It is consciousness, just as you are not made up. In the same sense, the Ishta Devata is also not made up. Let me give a distinction between made up, the two Sanskrit beautiful terms. One is kalpana. Kalpana, we know it is in every Indian language. It means imagination. Imagination. Creativity. Imagination. The other one is bhava, which is a spiritual word which means a spiritual attitude. Bhava. Now, what's the difference between the two? Bhavana and kalpana. One Kashmiri Shaiva philosopher, he writes that this bhavana, which is also mental, emotional, you're relating to Krishna and you're loving Krishna, for example. That's a bhavana. How is it different from kalpana? Suppose a kid says, I love Spider-Man, you love Krishna. What's the difference? The difference is this. Spider-Man is a product of kalpana, of imagination, of the the artist, the comic writer's creative imagination. Comes up with this idea of Spider-Man. It does not have to correspond to anything in this relative universe. Whereas bhavana is not like that. Spiritual seekers have practiced and realized God in that particular form, and it becomes a lineage in Hinduism or in any other religion also. That in this way God was revealed to such and such person way back. And they have transmitted that form, that name, that way of practice, that ritual, so that you too can reach that. And that is still there and accessible to us in that form. Yeah. Still there is a cultural component. Still there, that's why it accounts for the difference between different religions approaching it in different ways. The ultimate nature of God is so capacious, so vast, that it can be approached, it can be practiced, approached and realized in all these different ways. And they are all real. As real as? Yes. This world. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'll come to you again. One more, take another question. Wait. Aryan, wait.
Oh.
No. You have to ask the question.
Oh, I'm next.
Yeah.
This question is from Renato Billo from Italy. How can I think of the divine? How can I adore him when I state that he is just awareness and nothing else? How can I combine my idea of the divine as pure awareness with my personal story of perceivable protection and guide, of witnessed miracles and stunning gifts received from the divine?
Do you see how this is the same question as yours? It's a counterpart to the same question which you just asked. So, how can I continue to worship God if I realize I am one consciousness and everything else is that same consciousness alone? If God is that same consciousness, I am consciousness and we are one, how can I worship? How can I adore? How can I love? That requires some separation, right? It becomes all oneness. So, these are problems which we face when we dive deep into non-dual philosophy. Notice the first question we dealt with, this question of ethics. How do I continue to love my children? How do I appreciate art? How do I deal with the moral issues of the day? That was the question Graham asked in the first question. Another question could be, how do I continue to love and worship God if Brahman is the only reality? Where is God in all of this? Brahman is the only reality. I am Brahman. That's it. Where is God in all of this? So these are issues. How do I continue in devotional religion, which requires dualism? Ethics, aesthetics, morality, politics, all of these, they seem to be completely undercut by non-duality. That's why it requires a careful understanding of non-duality. That's why non-duality is dangerous, and that's why it is also the most advanced form of spirituality. That's why it was given very carefully, only to prepared minds. If I take it as it's all an illusion, being very careful to say I am real. No. Swami, I don't mean it in that simplistic sense. I understand I am consciousness, but the rest of you all are appearances in me, the consciousness. Remember then that one consciousness is actually very rooted in this body-mind. You're looking at it from the perspective of one body-mind. And therefore everybody else is an appearance. No. As I said, take away from the first question and the answer, the discussion, the central teaching of Advaita Vedanta is oneness. It's not dismissing everything as illusion. Dismissing as illusion, as an appearance, is a step to realizing oneness. One simple point here I can raise. World is an appearance. What we understand by that? Oh, all this is an appearance. But when you say all this is an appearance, this is not just the world. It is Brahman appearing as the world. Are we not throwing out the baby with the bathwater? If I say the name and form, table is a name, form and function, wood is the reality, and therefore I say I dismiss this as an appearance, but the wood is right here. What I am telling you is to separate in your understanding, only in your understanding it's possible, is to the wood what it is in reality and the imposed name, form and function, which is the whole thing is what we call a table, but it includes the underlying reality which is wood. Similarly, what we call world right now is Brahman plus world. You're dismissing the world nature of it, but you cannot dismiss the Brahman nature of it, which is the underlying existence, consciousness place. Now the particular question here is about devotion, about love of God. How can I continue to have love of God after non-duality? Notice first and foremost, the great masters of non-duality had no problem in loving God. Adi Shankaracharya, who is a greater non-dualist than him, he wrote so many wonderful verses. Even today, devout Hindus chant Bhaja Govindam, worship Govinda, worship Krishna. They chant the hymns to Shiva, to the Divine Mother, to Krishna, to Ganga, written by Shankaracharya. So, Shankaracharya had no problem in being a non-dualist and being devoted to God at the same time. Swami Vivekananda had no problem. Ramana Maharshi had no problem. Sri Ramakrishna certainly didn't have any problem in being devoted to God and being a non-dualist at the same time. There is a, let's put it this way. You, the questioner, you realize, you feel or you understand that I am one consciousness. But after that also, your life is continuing. You are appearing as this person, his name is Renato. So you are appearing as this person. So Renato is still walking around and talking and writing questions to ask Swami and eating and waking and dreaming and going to a job, presumably doing all sorts of things in the world. None of it is hindered by being one consciousness. Only poor God seems to suffer. No, it's a serious question. He's asking, so it's a serious question. No. If I can do everything in the world, I can worship God also. And the two are not incompatible. The two are not incompatible. Action in this world, which seems to be dualistic, is not incompatible with non-duality. In fact, it is grounded in non-duality. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahma arpanam brahmahavi, brahmagno brahmanahutam, brahmaiva tena gantavyam, brahma karma samadhina. That in our action, the Vedic fire rituals, which were rituals performed in the Vedic ages, where fire was lit and offerings were poured in a wooden spoon into the lit fire in the accompaniment of chanting of Vedic mantras. So the Krishna says, the spoon with which you are performing the ritual, the offerings, that spoon is Brahman. The offerings being poured into the fire is Brahman. The enkindled fire is Brahman. The one who is offering is Brahman. In fact, then he says, the one who sees Brahman in every aspect of action, that one finds Brahman or realizes Brahman. That means in the middle of action, not by withdrawing from action. There can be an action with the paradigm of duality, which is where we are. I am separate, and that cookie is separate from me. I need to put that cookie into my mouth. So that's the action. I am separate, the cookie is separate. So, and then this is an action based on duality. But then, if it's non-duality, you see oneness everywhere, and action is also the same oneness, the same consciousness appears as action. In Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manava. That one non-dual reality which appears as this universe, you worship that non-dual reality. How do you worship this non-dual reality? By your work. The work is also that non-dual reality. And sentient beings, human beings, spiritual seekers like us attain to perfection, enlightenment by worshipping that all-pervasive non-dual reality through one's work. When I say it might sound contradictory, but it's not. When I say one's work, I, the worker, and the work that I do, and the non-dual reality I am worshipping through that work, they're all that one non-dual reality. Knowing it to be non-dual, persist in action. Krishna says two very beautiful statements about action to Arjuna. Yoga samatva muchyate. What is yoga? Yoga is said to be evenness. How can you be have evenness in the middle of action? It's only when you see that one non-dual reality everywhere. You see it is the same being in all beings I interact with. The same being within me, same there, same in all of my actions. Evenness. The second statement he makes, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Within 2 verses of that, in the 2nd chapter. Yoga is skill in action. So what is this skill in action? Not that one is an expert in one's job, which is a good thing, but here a spiritual skill is indicated. What is the spiritual skill in action? In the midst of activity, I can center myself in my knowledge of non-dual reality, that I am Brahman, this is one limitless existence, consciousness, bliss. And in that, as an ocean, in that like a wave is moving across the surface of the ocean, all activities are going on through this body and mind. That is the skill in action. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. How to perform actions in a non-attached way. Not in the dualistic paradigm. I, by doing this, will get that. The non-dualism will tell you, you and that are already one. From that perspective, so all our actions then will be purified, spiritualized. They'll no longer be selfish. What's the problem with action, with doing anything? It's because we are very centered in this body-mind. So every activity is tinged with, infected with this selfishness. Is inflected and infected with this selfishness. Whereas if I have a strong conviction, clarity about my non-dual nature being one with everybody, the actions performed to this particular body and mind will be unselfish. We'll have that fragrance, the perfume of oneness. That's why the actions of the enlightened ones are so instructive, so inspiring. How can they be so selfless? How can they be so fearless? How can they be so joyous in the midst of struggles? How can they be not petty? How can they be so large? It's all because they're centered in this one limitless non-duality. Then only action flows. Devotion is also like that. Hanuman was asked by Sri Ramachandra, I've mentioned this many times, what do you think of me? And Hanuman, the devotee, he says, Jiva buddhya dasoham. As a sentient being, deha buddhya dasoham. As this body, as Hanuman, I am the servant, thou art my master. Rama is the master, Hanuman is the servant. Jiva buddhya twadangshaka. As this sentient being, I am part of you. You, my Lord, are the whole, and I am a tiny spark of you. Atma buddhya tvamevaham iti me nishchitamati. As the Atman, as consciousness, you and I are one. I am you, you are me. We are one being. Which one is right? Iti me nishchitamati. This is my firm conviction. All three. So after Hanuman says, I am one and you are one. I and you are one reality. We are all one reality. Does he now say to Ramachandra that I can't serve you anymore? I am one with you. You can do stuff for me if you like, but I am not going to do anything for you. Because now I have realized I am not really your servant. No, I continue to be your servant. That one ocean of non-duality manifests here as the Lord Rama and his devoted servant Hanuman. I'm perfectly fine. Though I am very clear about what the reality is, underlying reality is. That makes it all the more joyous. Great joy. Great delight. There is a saying, Bodhat prag dvaitam mohaya prapte manishaya bhaktyartham kalpitam dvaitam advaitadapi sundaram. Before enlightenment, duality leads to delusion. After enlightenment, the duality imagined for love is more beautiful than non-duality. So, before enlightenment, before we know this underlying oneness, this non-dual reality, duality can lead to delusion. So our worldly life is full of delusion. Our worldly life is just, we are infected with so many complexes, desires, grudges, prejudices. It's like we're living in a world of dreams, mostly nightmares. And none of it is particularly real. So this is our world before enlightenment. Even if you are genuinely spiritual, without non-duality, the dualistic devotion of a spiritual seeker, without the grounding of non-duality, what will happen is, it will once in a while be affected by doubt. I worship God. A God of what? A God of faith. I have deep faith in God. The moment you say that, you are terribly vulnerable to doubt and skepticism. Even if you don't listen to Richard Dawkins, or even if you just keep yourself insulated and keep yourself to devotional reading and prayer and faith and the company of other people, life is tough. Life throws so many kicks and blows at you, it will test the deepest faith. And then questions will come. This God I believed in all these years and decades of my life, does it really exist? Or is it a figment of, is it made up? Is it made up? But those who are grounded in non-duality, they have this much at least. One thing is not made up. This underlying existence consciousness. All made up things also appear to this one thing. This underlying existence consciousness which I am, it cannot be denied. This is the basic discovery of Descartes and other great philosophers. Your own existence cannot be questioned. What I am can be questioned, but that I am, it cannot be questioned. Suppose God, to the non-dualist, suppose you say, God doesn't exist at all. You finally make the discovery, no God exists. The non-dualist is not fazed at all. Because this discovery, no God exists, appears to that one limitless consciousness, which it definitely is. It cannot be denied. It is more real than this very concrete, this, that you are consciousness, that you exist, is more real than this very solid thing. More real than this. Because it is to that this solid thing is presented. It is to that reality that this is appearing. That cannot be denied. If you base your devotion on non-duality, then your devotion, your love of God will be proof against doubt, against skepticism. After enlightenment, the separation which is imagined, there's no separation. Separation which is imagined for the sake of love, it is more beautiful than non-duality. The non-dualists enjoy this world More, you see, they dismiss this world as an appearance, but they enjoy it more than we do. We run through this world as if we are persecuted and being chased down. They are relaxed. Vivekananda says, I know that I cannot die, so I am not in a hurry. They are perfectly at ease. The non-dualist has done what has to be done in human life, has known what has to be known in human life, has achieved what has to be achieved in human life. Imagine the peace and rest of that person. Then everything, you can let loose a huge sigh of relief. And then the rest of your life, and if there are other lives also, is all joy and joy only. Bhati ched bhatu. Maikasya bhushanam tat. This is a Sanskrit phrase. After all talk of non-duality, I am Brahman, this world still appears. I'm still the guy, I have to still fill the parking meter, and there are taxes to be done, and it's really cold outside. All of this world is still appearing after all talk of existence, consciousness, bliss, I am Brahman. What? It didn't make any difference. And the non-dualist reply is, Bhati ched bhati. Is it appearing, the world? Yes. Let it appear. Maikasya bhushanam tat. This is the glory. Literally it means the ornament. This is the jewelry. Maika means the consciousness with the power of Maya. This universe is the ornament, is the jewelry, is the decoration, is the ornamentation, is the glory of you the consciousness. It's your power of Maya displaying like a magic display to you. Let it continue. It can't do anything to you. Yes, to you the consciousness. It can't do anything. So, devotion can continue. Love of God can very well continue and should continue. Long-winded reply, but just look at the lives of enlightened people, especially in the non-dual tradition. If you look at them, you'll see many of them have very great devotion to God. They see no problem with devotion to God and non-dual realization. Somebody else, I'll take it later. Yes, Amita, please come.
As always, very grateful to be sharing with you. I think one of the interesting things about today is there seems to be basically only one question that keeps coming up again and again.
Yes.
And my question actually is pretty much answered by what you just said, but I still have to ask. The difference between duality and non-duality. When we speak of Brahman, when I hear the word Brahman, and you often equate it with the term God. And God, from what my background was, and many people's, was a dualistic something out there from the Abrahamic tradition. I can understand conscious existence with no beginning and end. More difficult to understand awareness with no beginning and end as being the same as consciousness. And of course, if you have that, you're in bliss. So how can we accept that God exists? Brahman is all pervasive and not something separate from us.
First, the question about God. Yes, I use the term God, and I use it loosely, mainly because it's the easiest term and the most common term and easiest term to use. People are used to it around the world. How do you map the term God into the term Brahman? Brahman literally means the vast, and you find it in the Upanishads. It's referred in various ways. It's sometimes referred to as Tat, that, the vast. We just sang in the morning today, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahman is infinite existence consciousness. That's not quite what is meant by God, especially in the Abrahamic religions. Now, in the Upanishads, Brahman is spoken of in two ways. Nirguna Brahman and Saguna Brahman. Nirguna Brahman is the attributeless Brahman. Saguna Brahman is the Brahman with attribute, literally translating. Saguna Brahman is the same as the Nirguna Brahman, but with the attribute of Maya. And the attribute of Maya enables this Saguna Brahman to be the creator, preserver, and destroyer of this world, to be omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, to be what would be called God in the Abrahamic religions. In the Abrahamic religions, and in all the theistic religions of the world, the theistic religions accept theos, God. How is this God in various religions? What's the common definition? One common definition is the creator God. If God is there, God must be the creator, must be the maximal possible being, all powerful, all perfection, all love and justice, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, all the omnis, and especially the creator of this universe. In that sense, Saguna Brahman of Vedanta and the God of Abrahamic religions, they're talking about the same thing basically, the same reality. But beyond the Saguna Brahman, beyond the creator God, creator in Vedanta, creator, preserver, destroyer, and in cycles of creation, preservation, destruction, is the absolute. So for Nirguna Brahman, I would use the term absolute. For Saguna Brahman, I'd use the term God. Yes, the two are and the two are not different. But there is a hierarchy. The Nirguna Brahman is a higher or a deeper reality, of which Saguna Brahman, the world, and sentient beings like us are an emanation or an appearance. Or remember, however, Advaita Vedanta does not dismiss God. Some people misunderstand that way. What Advaita Vedanta says is, you are Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, you, the individual being. The Jiva is Brahman means Jiva is Nirguna Brahman. So if I or we are Nirguna Brahman, God is also Nirguna Brahman. Why would you leave God out in the cold? There is only Nirguna Brahman. Nirguna Brahman with the power of Maya appears as the one God of this universe and creates, projects and dissolves this universe, and appears as the numerous sentient beings of this universe. So that's the tremendous world view or universe view of Vedanta. Simplify it, what is the reality? Only Nirguna Brahman. But how do you explain all this? So Nirguna Brahman is Saguna Brahman, all of this and all of us also. Okay. Now a more subtle question about consciousness and existence. All of this is an ocean of existence. We can sort of understand what is meant by talk like this. The statement that, see, existence everywhere. Table, microphone, men, women, chairs, hall, sky, earth, exist. And I can think of it, I can sort of get what is meant by all of this limitless existence. But when we say consciousness is limitless, it doesn't seem like that. Why? Because it seems that consciousness is only limited to this body, and outside this body, not conscious. Also, this consciousness seems to be episodic. That means it comes and goes. Sometimes I'm more conscious, sometimes I'm less conscious, sometimes I'm unconscious, sometimes I'm awake, sometimes I'm dreaming, sometimes I'm sleeping. So consciousness seems to come and go. Consciousness seems to be limited. The reason for that is that what we call consciousness is what in Vedanta is called Chidabhas, or reflected consciousness. It's consciousness experienced in and through the mind. And what is limited is the mind. The mind is actually localized in this body. The mind is that which sometimes is active, sometimes is not active. The mind is something that is sometimes awake, sometimes dreaming, sometimes sleeping. And therefore consciousness seems to come and go with the mind. It's like moonlight and sunlight. Sunlight is always blazing, always shining. Blazing forth, limitlessly, fast light. Whereas the moonlight goes through phases. There are phases of the moon. There is the full moon and there are phases of the moon, and there is the new moon. Seems to be no moon in the night. But remember, the moonlight, even when we see the full moon or when we do not see the moonlight also, it's nothing other than the sunlight. So what Vedanta means by consciousness is like the sunlight. What we are experiencing as consciousness is like the moonlight. Notice, consciousness seems limited. It comes and goes. Who is saying this? Is it mind or is it consciousness? It's mind. From its perspective, consciousness comes and goes because it is itself coming and going. Yeah. The very fact, so to understand that consciousness is unlimited and consciousness is the same as existence, we can do it in two ways. One is by analogy and one is by experience. By analogy, the dream analogy is useful. In the dream analogy, we fall asleep and forget that we are sleeping. A dream world emerges and then we experience stuff in the dream world. There are people, activities are going on. I am myself there in the dream world. Then I wake up, I snap out of it. What do I realize? Oh, the whole thing was in my mind. I, the dreamer, appeared as this dream world. Everything and everybody in the dream world was nothing other than this dreaming mind. Now, if I were to be a philosopher of dream, I would say that all existence in the dream was nothing other than mind. All matter in the dream was also this mind. Though it did not seem so. In the dream, a tree seemed like a tree, a bridge seemed like a bridge, a water under the bridge seemed like water under the bridge, people seemed like people, and thoughts seemed like thought. They all seem to be separate. But when I wake up, I'll realize the whole thing, the water and the bridge and the people and whatever is going on in the dream, the park in the dream, is all mind, mind, mind. By the same analogy, so there in the dream, mind and existence are the same thing. Everything that exists in the dream is mind only. Now that's the analogy. What Vedanta wants to say is here in the waking world also, everything that appears and disappears is in consciousness, and everything that, though it does not seem to, it seems to be outside consciousness, is actually nothing other than consciousness, you the consciousness. It does not seem so because of the activity of the mind. So this is the approach from analogy. If we can grasp the dream, we can grasp how it is possible that everything, that here also consciousness and existence can be coextensive. That everything that exists is nothing other than consciousness. We can sort of intellectually grasp. It's like the dream world. In experience, that's a little tougher. That's when we analyze, what we have to do is a process of, say, drigdrishya viveka, seer and seen. Very deliberately, carefully notice every activity of the mind is also seen. It's an object. Every thought, every emotion, every idea, every imagination, every perception, every memory, every sense of ego, I. It's all appearance in consciousness. You don't have to force it. It's a fact. You see, yeah, of course it's a fact. And therefore, what is consciousness? You must flush out every activity of the mind. Then you will realize consciousness remains so in the absence of the mind, in the presence of the mind. When consciousness is appreciated as entirely other than the mind and the illuminer of the mind, you will notice along with consciousness is not only consciousness, existence also follows it. That consciousness is existence awareness. I like the term presence. In the word presence, two things are there: awareness and being. And you will notice that presence, that is existence awareness. And that's where everything gets the sense of being from. Afterwards, when we look out into the world, we will see clearly all of this, as if the existence of all of these is centered in that presence which I am, not in those things. There are names and forms spread out in space and time before me, but they are appearances. The being, the existence, the reality is not there. It's in that presence to which all of this is appearing. Then we will see existence and consciousness are coextensive. They go together. From the perspective of the individual mind, it seems consciousness is limited to this and existence is vast out there. Yeah. Leave it at that. There's one lady who was raising her hand. Please come. We'll take this question. Aryan, I'll take your question afterwards. We'll take this question now, and then we'll take one question from the internet audience, and then end up. Yes.
Pranam Swamiji.
Tell us your name.
My name is Manjiri Datar.
Yes.
And it's a request. The request is that can you talk a little bit about free will?
Yeah, that comes up a lot. I understand. That comes up a lot. But I will not talk a little bit because we have really run out of time. I'll mention just a few key points and then move on. Practically, we have free will. We cannot avoid that. All our life is based on the notion of free will. The very fact that you decided to come here, the very fact that I asked you to come and speak here, we all have a notion, I could have chosen otherwise, but I chose this. We have a notion of free will. You go out and buy something in Costco or in Trader Joe's. The whole thing is displayed in a way that assumes free will on your part. That you can choose. The customer has free will. That's why do they spend billions of dollars in advertisement? To restrict your free will. So that you are not free anymore. We want to influence your free will to make you buy our product. So all consumer activity, the market itself is based on the notion of free will, assumption that you have free will. Our entire justice system is based on the assumption that you're free. You've freely done something bad, so you have to be punished or penalized. You've freely done something good, so you have to be rewarded or recognized. So justice system, economics, then politics, election. What is the point of it? The idea is that the voter has free will. Religion, ethics. Why do you have do's and don'ts? Do this, don't do that. It's assuming you have free will. If you have no free will, what's the use of recommending this or that? If a person is going to do whatever they are in spite of any kind of teaching, any kind of advice, then there's no point in teaching or advice. So, free will is assumed in religion, in politics, in economics, in our society, in date, and in common sense also it's assumed. Is it really there? No. That's the amazing thing, that when we investigate, what do I mean investigate? Investigate scientifically, investigate philosophically, investigate in religion and theology. Everywhere the answer seems to come up that in a deep sense, no. Free will is not as we understood it. In one sense, it's not there. Science will say it's hard determinism. From the beginning of the Big Bang till now, there's a chain of cause and effect, and if causality holds anywhere in the universe, it must hold everywhere in the universe. If there is causality, where is free will? In a simplistic way. Religion, philosophy. Swami Vivekananda said free will is a contradiction in terms. There is freedom. Brahman is free. But there is no free will. The moment it comes down to the level of the will, it is all cause and effect. Anyway, so what's the takeaway from all of this? Assume there is free will, because even if you assume there is no free will, you will still continue to act as if there is free will. There is one thing in which you have no freedom, in the matter of freedom. Even if you decide you have no free will, you will continue to act as if you have free will. Act in accordance with our intuition that we do have free will. But this new knowledge which is coming from science, and that book is there, Determined, Robert Sapolsky. The latest work in neuroscience, saying that free will is very unlikely that we have free will. Anyway, so in science, in philosophy, not that all philosophy says there's no free will. There are multiple schools. There are schools which are deterministic schools, no free will. There are schools which are called libertarian schools, which say that there is free will. There are schools which are called compatibilist theories, which means free will and no free will can coexist together. For example, I raise my hand here. Is this an act of free will? Yes. Most of you will say yes. But this is made possible by a strict chain of causation, of causality, of determinism. I want to raise my hand. How that wish is transmitted into raising the hand, then there's a full chain of deterministic activity. From the firing of the neurons to the contraction of the muscles, to the coordination of the muscles and the muscular system and all of that, which is raising this hand, everything is causally linked. If it were not causally linked, if one thing could lead to this, or could, if the neurons fired and the muscle said, I may contract, may not contract. If the bones say, I may bend this way, I may not bend that way, then I would not be able to raise my hand. Go to a physiotherapy unit where you see patients who have suffered from paralysis, undergoing they have the free will of raising the hand, they cannot. Then you see clearly how the causal mechanism working in the brain, the nervous system and the muscular system, how that causality, that determinism, hard determinism is absolutely necessary for free will. My free will over my body is made possible because the body has no free will. Another example, compatibilist, mathematics. Mathematics is possible because there is a set of axioms, and based on that you can derive your theorems and all, and everything will follow strictly in logical necessity. Then only you have the freedom of doing mathematics. If those axioms were not followed, where anything could lead from anything, then no mathematics would be possible. So, as spiritual seekers, what do we take away from all this? This I am taking from the philosopher Arindam Chakravarti, very beautiful. He says, assume free will, because you cannot do any otherwise. You have no free will in assuming free will. And recognize that ultimately it's all God's will. So, in doing everything, he uses the Sanskrit word namaha. Namaha means salutation. Namah. But he splits it up in this way. He plays on the word very beautiful. Namaha means na mama, not mine. Not mine. In every action we will do, assume free will, do every action, and also keep on acknowledging, not my, not me, not mine, you my Lord, you my Lord. How much of this is our doing in this world? I, the individual, almost nothing. In this my individual body also, in this my individual mind also, how much of it is under my control? If you look carefully, almost nothing. It's more like a show to which we are a witness. This is a very ancient philosophy, Sankhya. It says you are a conscious being, rest of it is not your concern. Prakriti, nature is putting up a show for your benefit. This universe, this body, this mind, this life, the entirety is a show put up by Prakriti for your benefit. And also Prakriti gives you, nature, Prakriti means nature. Nature also gives you a little bit of an illusion that you have free will. Actually, I, nature, Mother Nature, I'm controlling everything, but I make you feel as if you are doing some little bit of the stuff to encourage you to do. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Prakrityeva karmani kriyamanani sarvasha yapashyati tathatmanam akartaram shapashyati. Nature alone is doing everything in this universe, including what you think is your own body, your own mind, your own personality. Everything A to Z is being done by nature. The one who sees this sees that I am the non-doer, sees the self as the non-doer, non-agent. But the beauty of it is seeing that and yet from all practical purposes being fully engaged in action. It's great freedom, great joy, great lightness, great freedom. Okay, thank you. We'll take one more question and end.
This question is from Sri Priya. I've been listening to your sessions on Mandukya Upanishad, and my question is about the fourfold qualifications. Every time a student from the audience raises the question about lack of these qualifications, you say that the presence of qualifications or lack of them are in the mind, and that you are the consciousness that witnesses the mind that doubts itself. But if we don't need to worry about these fourfold qualities, then why does Gaudapada talk about their importance? Because the way I understand it, these qualifications are important in the path of Raja Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. But in the path of Advaita, it looks like we can succeed without it. Am I right in my understanding?
No. Big no. But I'm glad you raised this question. Not at all. In fact, let me be very clear. The fourfold qualifications are qualifications required, demanded in the path of Jnana Yoga, not Raja Yoga or Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. It is Advaita Vedanta which demands these fourfold qualifications. In fact, if you take up any book, traditional book of Advaita Vedanta, Vivek Chudamani, Aparoksha Anubhuti, Vedanta Sara, all of them will begin with fourfold qualifications. Advaita Vedanta. In fact, it's just the opposite for Bhakti. Bhakti will keep on telling you, don't worry about your qualifications, come straight. Qualifications are necessary in Bhakti also, but we will take care of your qualification. We will help you to develop those qualifications. Advaita Vedanta is more like an Ivy League school. You need very high SAT scores to get in. So, it is Advaita which requires the fourfold qualifications. It's Advaita which makes a big deal of the fourfold qualifications. And therefore, so if I have ever given the impression the fourfold qualifications are not important, no, I'm very sorry. No, they are important. Especially for Advaita Vedanta, they are important. I see where the problem might lie. Yes, the fourfold qualifications are in the mind. The fourfold qualifications are not in the Atman, not in pure consciousness. In fact, no problem is there in the pure consciousness, in Atman. Right now also, for all of us. The problems are at the mental level, problems are at the physical level, problems are at the societal level. But unless we solve these problems, the enlightenment is also not possible. See, the Atman, pure consciousness, does not need enlightenment. Who needs enlightenment? The one who is not enlightened. If I feel I am ignorant, I am suffering, then I need enlightenment. And you say, but you said I am the Atman, then you don't need enlightenment. But if you feel, let's be honest, I am Atman, I am pure consciousness, I like it, it sounds cool, but does it solve my problems? Do these words fill an empty stomach? No, they don't. I don't get peace out of it. My problems are not solved. My anxieties are not resolved. My fears are not assuaged. In that case, what do? These are problems at the level of the mind. And the solution is also at the level of the mind. By mind, I mean mind, intellect, the whole, the emotional nature, the intellectual nature, all of it. Ignorance at the level of the mind is removed by knowledge at the level of the mind. To generate knowledge at the level of the mind, that's where it is. Knowledge is in the mind. Where else is the knowledge? Is not in the knee or the liver. Knowledge is in the mind. So to generate that knowledge, the mind must be polished. That's where the fourfold qualifications come in. Without those fourfold, yes, it's in the mind, not in the Atman. But without those fourfold qualifications, the problems in the mind will remain. Even the knowledge that we get from listening to Vedanta and reading, as you said, Mandukya, Gaudapada, all that may be fascinating, inspiring, exciting, but it will not make much of a difference. Because the mind is sabotaging that knowledge all the time. One sadhu, very good sadhu, he said, when he was asked about Vedantic teachings, I'll tell you in Hindi what he said and translate. ये सब जानकारी है महात्मा जी, साधन के बगैर जानकारी कोई काम का नहीं है. These are all, oh monk, this is all information. Without spiritual practice, he says, jap karo, repeat the name of God incessantly. Take the name of God incessantly. That he says, what is the relationship with Vedanta? I am pure consciousness. What is the name of God to me? He says, that information will make no difference in your life without power. He used the word, English word power. जानकारी में power नहीं है महात्मा जी, आप जप करो. You repeat the mantra, do selfless service, and above all, try to ground our lives. The Americans have a term, clean up your act. A moral life, an ethical life, as far as possible. Struggle, it's not easy. That struggle is important. To have a moral life, clean up your act, one. Then selfless action. Then regular meditation and japa. Devotion to God, yes, consider it dualistic, whatever it is, do it. If nothing else, if you try to do it even once, we will realize with alarm what is the terrible condition of our mind. How restless, how twisted our minds already are. We have poured so much garbage into it in this lifetime and past lifetimes. It's damaged. So it has to be polished. Vivekananda said, we can only polish the mirror. Just a cryptic statement. We can only polish the mirror. So sadhana, spiritual practice, Dharma first, ethics. Then based on ethics, Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga and Raja Yoga. Devotion, selfless service and meditation. All of these are powerful, powerful instruments. I mean, they can take you to God realization by themselves, but from non-dual perspective, they are all polishing the mirror. Without polishing the mirror, you will not see the reflection of reality. Without seeing the reflection of reality, the sense of freedom will never come. It will remain, information will remain as information. Hard disk, storage. Hard disk may get liberation, you will not get liberation. Yeah. So, there is an ancient saying, I'll end with that. In the Yoga Sutras it comes, Sankhya samam jnanam nasti, yoga samam balam nasti. There is no knowledge like Sankhya, there is no power like yoga. What is the Sankhya, ancient Sankhya knowledge? I am pure consciousness. So no knowledge like that. It's an amazing knowledge. Great that we are interested in, that she is interested in Mandukya and in Gaudapada's teachings. Fantastic. That's really, really what, if anything is worthwhile to learn, non-duality is worthwhile to learn in this life. But it must be supported by yoga samam balam nasti. There is no power, like that sadhu said, there is no power like yoga. And that yoga is basically spiritual practice of all sorts. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, raja yoga. That gives power. That makes that knowledge shine effectively and remove the darkness in our minds. I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada, Swami Vivekananda. May they bless us in this life with purity. Our mirrors may be polished, the reflection may be bright and clear. May power shine and manifest in our life. May we become blessed in this very life itself. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.